good. We all right. We settled in. Cool. You know the drill, man. MIC podcast, episode 143, where everyone is a master of their own creation, man. It's PhD week in the building, man. We have another esteemed guest, man. Our guest today has his PhD in biology, man, and like he's a very very intelligent man, doing a lot of incredible work. Making STEM careers a lot more accessible. To the youth. Excuse me. So we have Dr. Andre Samuel in the building. What's going on, Dr. Samuel?
Hey, what's good? What's good?
We're
man?
shaking, man. Nah, thanks for coming through, man. It's a pleasure, man. I was really excited for this conversation, man, just because going through my research. I like you're just someone who I would love to hear from first and foremost, and I just really respect what you're doing. I respect your interest. You know what I mean? Like we're heavy nerds up here. You know what I mean? So I respected that tip and just your relationship with hip hop, the sciences, man. I just think it's super super dope, man. So I think it's gonna be real cool to just to hear your story, man. Just like some of your take on things in your field, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely,
Appreciate it,
for
man.
sure.
I was excited, and then I didn't know it was PhD week, so
No, honestly, man, our last guest just all off like a random vibe. Like we met him at a bar, but he had his PhD and I'm missing his field right now, but it was in the sciences as well.
Yeah.
And he was just a really eclectic, intelligent dude. He was low on some Albert Einstein stuff. It was crazy. Bumped into him at a bar, man. You know what I mean? So nah, man. PhD week, man. I might end up with my doctor after this episode, low key. Right? Yeah, no, facts, man. So you're originally from DC, correct?
Yeah, well, so I was raised in D.C.
Okay, copy.
Born in Germany.
Wow, okay.
In Germany, my father, black man in the military.
Yeah, okay, I figure. Okay, yeah, right.
Was a local German woman.
Okay.
And then I lived in D.C. ever since I was 4 years old.
Wow, nice. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm actually originally from Maryland. So I'm definitely familiar with the area. I'm like Montgomery County, man. But I bounced around. I lived in word, man. I lived in Rockville, Silver Spring. I was actually born in Silver Spring. You know what I mean? So I just lived through all throughout Montgomery County. That's more like VA, yeah, exactly. It's that's more toward VA, but the Silver Spring, I primarily grew up in Olney, my high school years, and after that, so yeah, man, nah, man, shout out to DC, man, I definitely know a thing or two about that. So were your parents? Oh well, no. So you said your father was in the military.
Yeah. So he was in the military, right? But I didn't grow up with my biological parents.
Copy.
So,
Okay.
When we came to the States, we went to New York. It was me and my two sisters. I
Okay.
was the oldest. And my parents weren't married.
Yeah.
We were living in the projects in Brooklyn or the Bronx, I think.
Okay.
Bronx. And my mom left. And she took my two sisters with her. And then within a day, I was on my way to D.C. with this lady I just met.
Yeah.
And it ended up being my mom. She adopted.
That's crazy.
And I wouldn't find out till later on that she was actually my father's estranged wife.
Get the fuck out of here, yo. What? Yeah. That's insane.
So he was. They were married but separated.
Yeah. What?
So she came and scooped me up.
That's crazy.
He was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
A raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
While my biological mom broke out and left. But yeah. So that's how I ended up in D.C.
That's so wild,
That's
bro.
how D.C. ended up being home.
Yeah. And then so, that's interesting, bro. So what? Just even early on, just in your childhood, just just even in your adolescence, just sparked that interest in the sciences,
Oh man, I as far as I know, I've always been interested in knowing how things worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was the type of kid where if a radio or something in the house broke, I'd take the screwdriver.
Okay, yeah.
Take it apart. I'd go through and figure out what was wrong with it. But back in the day, TVs needed tubes.
Yeah, right.
Tell them my age.
That's what they called it, the tube, right? Yeah, present.
TV or radio.
Yeah, right.
These little tubes or fuses. I'd be like, Mom, it needs this, or it just needs a wire.
Right.
It's that, and I would fix it. You know what I'm saying? And so, my mom noticed that. She encouraged that. I read a lot. Some of my favorite books were these encyclopedia type books.
Yeah.
That had pictures and talked a lot about science and how things, why birds were able to stand on live wires, but like people couldn't touch them and stuff like that, right? Like
Wait, damn. What is the answer to that? Because I didn't even think that's crazy. That's a fact.
they said that so what I remember in the book was that because of the talons and the nails that they have to actually rest their talons on the cables versus their actual
Wow. So they're not even technically touching.
right. So it's just their
That's crazy.
which can't conduct.
That's
Like,
okay. Word.
That was the theory back.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I read stuff like that.
Fair.
You know, my favorite toys were things that I could build with besides like Star Wars action figure, Bowman and stuff like that. I was just always that type of kid.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to know. I like climbing trees. We had a park across the street. I like to climb the trees.
Yeah.
So that was just what I did.
100%. No, like this is something. Oh yeah, just remember to up here with the mic.
Okay.
As much as you can, but that I don't know if you have even seen or heard of this movie. Have you ever heard of Meet the Robinsons? It's like an animated, bro. Like it's like his your story right now was very much given my man I forget the character's name, but like he was just up in his room, like you said, fixing radios if it needed to be fixed, just like you were like inventing stuff. Like he just had like that affinity for that stuff. You know what I mean? Like he goes on to be like just be a genius. Like in the movie. But no, that's super dope. So like, what would you say like your relationship with hip hop started?
Oh gosh. Wow. It had to have been Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah.
The record came out.
Facts.
I remember I had the vinyl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember playing it, and like I was like, this is it. It's
crazy.
And so that was the hip hop train for me. I jumped right on.
Yeah.
After that, it was Run DMC.
Facts. Well, yeah, right.
The King of Rock album.
Yeah.
The Rock album. All of their albums. And so, yeah, I just started rocking Public Enemy.
Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, right, of course. Yeah.
Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
Like, went to the show.
Right.
Started to fizzle out when MC Hammer came along. But
yeah.
Damn.
Damn, MC.
Hammer, I give him his respect.
Yeah. No. Facts. Right. 100%.
Just a real quick funny story.
Yeah.
My mother made me go see the MC Hammer show with her once.
Oh, for real?
And when I got there, I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, yeah, I was like,
he started crowd walking. You're like, all right, wait, hold up, wait a minute. There may be something. Yeah, right.
We had like 100,000 people on stage.
Of course, right.
Amazing, but I was like, what?
Yeah, I feel like he was hip hop's like first. I mean, like just first mainstream real like artist like that. I mean, because like he kind of was the one that like crossed over to like of more like like just like more of like a white audience. I mean, just like from the hip hop community, and like he was dancing and all that. Like had the pants, like it was like a whole look. You know what I mean? So like it makes sense, but like if you're going from like Public Enemy, you know what I mean? Like being a fan, then like you go like, well, hold up, like. It's not what Chuck D was preaching. Right. That's hilarious. So when did kind of Star Wars kind of end up in that whole mixture for you?
Yeah. Wow. I think so I grew up at a time where Star Wars was released.
Yeah.
Went to the movies to see it.
And I can't even on that. If we get in there, just like as a fan, like.
Yeah.
What was it like when that dropped initially? Like, what was like? Were you just like onto my eye, like it's new, fuck it, let's go see it, or like what was like just the consensus of that?
You know what? We went to go see. We didn't even know what we were going.
I imagine, yeah.
And this was back in the day where you would just go see movies.
Yeah,
what you did. Yeah, we see movies. We saw the Star Wars trilogy, right? We saw Superman when it first came.
Right.
That's just what you did.
Facts, sure.
And movies weren't expensive back then.
And also that part too. Yeah. Bring that back. Facts. Bring that back.
Yeah. So we just did it and it was like, all right, Star Wars is out.
Yeah.
We're into science fiction. We went to go see it, and like I just remember being blown away.
I can imagine. Yeah. I seen not even imagine
when Darth Vader appeared.
Get the So that's crazy. Cause we were like talking about like a bit before, but like I just put it on such a pedestal, just to even like again for Lucas to have that foresight, man, of just like the patience and the foresight to drop the last half of his story first, and then like have the patience to like drop the prequels and then everything that comes after that is crazy. But like I would liken it to something like Avatar dropping today, where it's just like, yo, like you go and it's like the effects in that movie, like you're probably like, yo, how did he get this off in '79?
Right.
Like this is insane. Like,
Right, and that is where like the science comes in.
yeah,
Because
100%, 100%.
you start learning about the science that's used to create the movies
Yeah, right.
back then. And learning like, so a lot of those scenes were painted on glass. Like those big scenes, like that big scene where Ben Kenobi is like going to that center of the core,
Yeah.
and there's like this big drop down.
Facts. Yeah.
That's him on a regular floor, and then around him it's all gray, and then they take artists, and those artists paint the scene on glass, and they superimpose it. I mean, bananas, right? And so now it's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
The same thing with graphics and CG and
100%, right.
and it's still an art.
Yeah, 100%, right. Yeah,
So that art is also a science.
Yeah.
Like you came up with the idea that you could paint something on glass,
Right.
refract and reflect light enough to where it will look like it is actually built, and on the big screen it looks like you're actually there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
that's
dope.
different.
How can
That's
you
different,
go
bro.
to the movies and appreciate that?
Type vibes, and then it's like to even like for him to pitch that
Right.
to people, they're probably just looking at him like, yo, George, please lay off whatever tabs or dope you're smoking. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the movie making business, man. Like, we're not trying to make no fantasy, but he got it done, bro. Like,
Yes.
and a half, and it was just, you can't help but respect it.
And the commentary on life.
Yeah,
And the comments
come on,
life
and then like the actual story itself, like, you know what I mean? It's an actual dope story too. So like that just puts it above the park. And then like 100%, like I like how you explain like how it kind of connected with science for you too. But how did hip hop do that for you? Like, or was it like a particular piece of content hip hop wise that kind of opened the door for you science wise, or?
So I think the connection was made for me when I was watching movies like Breakin' and Beat Street.
Okay.
Particularly Beat Street, because Beat Street really sort of chronicled almost sort of the birth of hip hop. You really kind of see the birth of hip hop in this movie and dance. And what you see is the innovative way people from the neighborhood in New York took things like turntables and created a whole new sound, right? It was using science and technology to create something new for the culture.
That's right.
Graffiti artists did the same thing, right? They created nozzles, right? And they created different patterns. We created a whole new sort of genre of music. And the way that we did it was we would go and we would experiment.
Facts.
We would say, hey, what is it? What happens if I make the record do this? What happens if I spin it backwards? What happens if I mix it, right? And we get all these different sounds. It's exactly the same thing.
100%.
So, for me, it also became the soundtrack to the laboratory.
Right.
Because that's what I listen to when I'm working in the lab.
That's fire.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm going to crack my laptop open.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a fire playlist.
That's right.
There's going to be some hip hop. There's going to be some Erykah Badu. There's going to be some Jill Scott.
Right.
It's going to be
Just lab vibes. Yeah, lab vibes. Yeah.
And occasionally you have to deal with sort of the kind of microaggressive comments. Like I've had to deal with things
In this, I can only imagine in the science community. Like, yeah.
Oh, every time I come into your lab, I feel so hurt.
Yeah. Trust me, this is right. This is the farthest from the hood you will ever be. Trust me, like, yeah.
This is what you think?
Yeah, if Erykah Badu was unlocking that for you, like, Jesus.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the connection for me. 100%. That connection felt like if we could make that connection for our culture,
Right, yeah.
people,
It's different.
maybe we can pull more
Bridge the gap.
our young people and even our older people because
Yeah.
it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got my PhD was in my 40s.
That's crazy, yeah.
I had 2 kids and I was married, still married. No.
Can't even, yeah, right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's put this.
Better time. So and I was pushing. I mean, I'm in there with a bunch of 20-something-year-olds.
Right.
And I was the only black person in that program.
That's crazy.
The entire duration of that program.
That's sorry.
So, it was sort of a different perspective.
100%.
I knew it had to be done.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And this is this was like the work that was sort of put in front of me, and I decided to jump for it and go for it.
Nah, man, like I feel like you followed your path 110%, man. And just like, I'm even hearing you talking about, like, because shout out to hip hop, man, because like just like the culture is just so dope. Like just taking nothing and making it something, bro. Like
Right.
it's just it's super dope. But I was watching this documentary. I don't know if you ever watched Hip Hop Evolution. Like you probably watched it on Netflix or something like that.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's dope. If you got time, catch it. It just takes you through like the journey, and like I'm sure, like, some memories will even, like, pop up for you, like, even in watching it. But when you were talking about that, like, there's a part in the documentary where Funkmaster Flash is talking about DJing, bro, and just like the way he was talking was like a scientist. Like he was talking about hip hop,
Right.
but it's just like the way he was talking about what he was doing with the tables. I'm like, yo, no, he was different. Like DJs don't even speak like this anymore. Like it's just like this is crazy. So like for him to be just that innovative back then is so crazy. And like he's doing stuff that people like could not do today without a button.
Right.
And he's doing it just by coming up. But I'm just like, yo, what?
Right. And think about back in the day, a lot of stuff was analog.
Facts, exactly, facts.
Then digital.
100%.
Now, we got bytes and
Yeah.
bits and everything else.
Right.
It's just crazy.
100%.
Evolution of the technology, but what we're able to do with it.
Crazy.
You know? And the positive messaging of hip hop, particularly like with the groups that I listen to and the artists that we listen to, I think we're also very uplifting and empowering. And I think we need more of that.
Yeah, I mean, 100, yeah, of course. No, definitely. So at what point did you decide to, pursue, at least your undergrad degree in biology?
Oh man, I decided, okay, so my trajectory was, my pathway was different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I graduated high school in DC.
Okay, facts.
then-
What high school did you go to?
I went to Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
Formerly known as Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, what is it now?
I can't remember.
Because I've known it as Woodrow.
But it was named after a black teacher in DC public schools, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, all
I
right.
should know that name.
Yeah, word. Yeah, word.
But I went to Woodrow Wilson. Right after Woodrow Wilson, I went to Tuskegee University.
Okay.
So I initially wanted to be a veterinarian.
Wow.
I was an animal lover. I worked at a pet shop when I was in high school. I worked for 2 black veterinarians.
That's
Shout out to Adams Morgan Veterinary Clinic in D.C.
I really
Dr.
don't know any
Harrison
black
Ford,
veterinarians. That's
and-
crazy. Yeah, that's what you talk.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Shout out to y'all, man.
And so, like, D.C. was a city where you could see yourself
That is
in
true.
all these other places, right? And so I worked for 2 black vets. One was an alpha, one was a Q.
Okay, word.
So I wanted to be a vet.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to Tuskegee because that's where they went.
Mm.
They went to Tuskegee. But I got down there and I wasn't focused. I wasn't ready. I actually ended up with a felony, doing white collar crime, writing checks, and had to sit out for a while. So it would end up being like 6 years before I would go back to school.
That's crazy.
And that's when I decided to go back to school, and I enrolled as a biology major and finish my biology degree because I knew that with a biology degree, I could go and do anything I wanted to do in the sciences. And what I ended up doing was bridging my love for animals and animal sort of care.
Okay, right.
Biological research.
That's it.
And what I ended up doing was becoming an animal researcher or a non-clinical researcher. So I started doing, research on the carcinogenicity and toxicity of drugs on animals. I started working on tuberculosis in primates and studying tuberculosis in monkeys and
That's
stuff
crazy.
Like that. So did some pretty like exciting
Yeah,
work.
that's wild. Yeah. When when you were like sitting down for that period after you caught that charge, like what was the mentality for you to just be like, all right, like let me just brush that off me and push forward and just really just make something shake out of that, like.
Well, I mean, I wish it was like that. But remember, it was 6 years.
Yeah,
6
right.
years.
Yeah.
So it was 6 years of hardship.
Right.
It was 6 years of homelessness. It involved homelessness. It involved drug addiction. It involved just me trying to figure out, like, I got to figure out something. Right? Like, this is not the life, and how do I get back to the track that I was on?
Yeah, facts.
And so it was funny. I was waiting tables, right? And I was waiting tables at the spot called Houston's in Georgetown, really popular spot. And that's where I met my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife.
Shout out
for 20 years.
That's-
And so
we
I met
got
this
them.
woman,
That's
and I was like,
crazy,
yo, if I'm going to keep her, I got to do something more than waiting tables.
Yeah, right. You're fair play, right?
Good money.
Yeah.
But this is not the career.
Hey, and a lot of dudes wouldn't even have had that ambition. They'd be like, look, if she's fucking with the waiting tables money, then we good. Look, yeah, that's a fact.
For real. And almost everyone, including her, that was working with me and waiting tables, they were all in school somewhere. And there were a few who were from school, right? Like what we call career waiters or servers.
Yeah, right.
And I saw the lack of joy.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yep.
No. You know what I'm saying?
It was a distinct lack of joy amongst them. Like, yeah.
I was like, I'm really good at science. I need to get back to this.
That's crazy though. Yeah. Nah, man. Shout out to all that. That's
My
crazy.
wife and I actually worked together to put each other through school.
Wow.
While we were dating, and then after we got married, we put each other through grad school.
Yeah.
Her through law school, her through me through my PhD.
Wow.
And then that's how we ended up. But yeah, that was what changed it.
That
like
is
I was
fucking incredible.
had kicked the habit. I got a place. I got back to working. I was living life, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to keep her. So
It's the next step.
figure it
No, that's fucking incredible, bro. And I'm super glad to hear all that. You're a legend. This is
all I'm gathering, son. Like, you're a legend. Like, you like Jay-Z and Tony Stark. That's kind of fire, though, man. So like when you were pursuing that degree initially, because like again, like you are coming from being an animal lover, studying to be a vet. Like, was it harder than you expected, or like because you were in tune, like, or just like had an affinity for the sciences? Like, was it a little bit easier to? Because like I know like those programs, at least initially, like there's like a whole lot of weed out classes.
Right.
Like you have to like really be there. Like if you want to be there, you know what I mean. So like, how was that for you?
yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild. I didn't prepare.
Yeah.
I took classes my junior and senior year, like pottery, photography, sewing. And I know how to do all that stuff to this day.
That's
okay,
word. All right, word.
No lie.
Yeah.
I can do all that, but I didn't prepare for the sciences, and so when I got there, I had a little bit of a challenge. So there were classes that we took that were in the sciences that I could deal with, basic biology, a lot of classes that really had to do with sort of memorization of principles and so on, right? I could memorize breeds of cattle and sheep and all that other
Insane. All right, word.
stuff. But my math class,
Yeah.
chemistry,
Yeah.
took chemistry 3 times.
I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? I took
I'd probably still be taking it.
microbiology.
Yeah.
Failed.
Yeah.
I am today a microbiologist.
Shout out to the hell list.
So right, that's what a thesis and my PhD thesis is focused on.
Yeah.
So it was not easy. And that was part of the challenge.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I ended up sitting out and focusing on other things, illegal things,
Yeah.
and was really more so focused on trying to make the outside look really, really good. I wasn't feeling that good on the inside, right? Because
How it go?
growing up in D.C. was cool, but it also had its challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was poor. I didn't have name brand things.
Yeah.
I
know that
people
goes.
owning on me all the time. See, my sneakers came from
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And like, so it's very word. So I had many challenges.
Yeah, right.
But I was able to overcome those challenges over a period of time.
Yeah.
And so today, I'm actually kind of thankful for those challenges.
No,
because I don't
forged
wanna
you.
be as
They forged you,
they
man.
out though.
100%. No, they forged, something incredible, man. Like that's nuts. And like what, I don't know, man. Like what was it for you when like you just kind of have to sit there and be like, damn, I didn't prepare for this shit? Because like that's like a humbling moment where it's just like, damn, I thought I was nice. You know what I mean? Like I thought I could just vibe my way through,
Right.
and that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. Chemistry was shocking. Like, because I honestly went into chemistry like the first few. I remember my first chemistry test.
Yeah.
I memorized a whole bunch of like laws and principles and stuff like that. And when I got the test, it was a whole bunch of stoichiometry and math, essentially, like moles.
What's stoichiometry?
Stoichiometry is converting moles. Basically, you have a chemical reaction, and you have X amount of products. How much of a product or reactant do you need in order to yield X amount of a product? So if I'm going to mix A and B, how much of A do I need to mix with B to get X amount of C, which is the product?
Don't give me that sense. Yeah, don't give me that sense. Yeah,
About it, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Strong and man.
Yeah, right.
I got my first test, and I was like, "What's all this, man?"
Yeah, right.
I'm ready for the first law of thermodynamics and stuff like that. Fall. No, it's not working like this. So yeah, that was what it was like, and so microbiology, I went in kind of thinking I knew what they were. Sorry, micro. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I know what he was talking about. he was talking about like bacteria and how they tumble to find food and extensions.
Is this Simone Biles or is this what's going on? Is this the Olympics? Like, what's going on?
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, right. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was it was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, man. Nah, man. That chemistry shit is I can't even, like, I don't know how y'all even, wrap your, head around it. It's like, no pun intended, but like that's crazy as hell, man. So like fast forward to when you were like pursuing your PhD, like what made you seek out Duquesne?
Oh wow. That's a great question. We came to Pittsburgh on a 3-year plan.
Okay.
So my wife could go to law school.
Okay.
And the plan was after she finishes law school, we were going to go back to D.C. and
Shit. Okay.
PhD there.
Okay.
But she finished law school and her career started to take off. And so we're like, all right, well, we'll stay here.
Yeah.
And I'll apply to schools here. And so I applied to Duquesne. Duquesne said yes. I applied to Pitt. Pitt said, no, you can't do the PhD program, but we'll let you in the master's.
Damn, Pitt.
And I was like, all right, well, that's your loss, Pitt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You see that, Pitt?
Yeah.
That's your loss. Duquesne alumni, go Dukes. See what Duquesne has built?
Shout out to the Dukes.
So, but yeah, so I said, all right, I'm going to Duquesne. I could have gone to Pitt and done the master's and paid for a master's and then applied to the PhD program, which I think is essentially what they wanted me to do, right? Go to the master's. If you do well, then you've proven yourself, and then we'll let you in the PhD program. But Duquesne said, come on in, and I jumped in.
Yeah.
And I went.
Yeah, right.
That's the decision I made.
No, man, and again, man, just from hearing your story, like, your story is very hip-hop, too. Like, it's just not, I mean, dead ass, though. Like, it's just like you're.
Chronicles of Dr.
Yeah, no facts. So, because, like, you're just taking, like, opportunities and just, like, again, like, something from nothing. Like, Pitt was giving you an opportunity. You said, fuck that. I'm like, I know what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? Which, again, I respect. This is like, I know what I'm here to do. I'm going to go do that. Like, that is a path, but it's not my path, And it's just like, I just, truly respect that. But, like, while you were studying your PhD, you created a summer study program for ninth graders. It's called the Sigma Science Mentorship Initiative.
Yeah.
I don't even, because like you said, like at this point, you're married, you got kids at this point, which I don't even know, like, how, when you're pursuing your PhD, how the hell you even got that off. Like, that's insane, you know what I mean? But just even then creating this initiative, like, for kids in the summer, like, what inspired you to do that? And then just what did it take to get that off the ground again whilst you're, studying for your doctor? Like,
wow, okay. Okay, so let's go back a little bit.
Yeah, fact.
To when I go back to school. So what I ended up doing was I ended up transferring my credits to the University of the District of Columbia.
Oh, okay.
The first HBCU in the D.C. area.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
And the only land-grant institute and the only public university in the city.
Shout out to that. Word, all right.
And out of the only two was the only one founded as a school to serve African-American students. Howard was not originally founded as a school to serve.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
But, just a little history.
Yeah, no, that's wild.
I went to UDC, and my grades were good. I got into this honor society, Beta Kappa Chi. There was a convention in Atlanta, and at the time, the Surgeon General was Dr. David Satcher, who was, I don't know if you remember him, but he was this brother, it was a black man, and if I'm not mistaken, probably the first were one of the first black surgeon generals of the time.
That's crazy.
And he was the keynote speaker.
Yeah.
And at the time, he said, one of the statistics that has been with me ever since, and that was that less than 3% of PhDs in the U.S. are held by African Americans. And I knew I wanted to get a PhD. And I was like, dude, I got to do something about that. And so that's what happened. I was at Duquesne. I was the only black student in that program.
It's crazy as hell.
You know, I had, within a week of being in the program, I had professors coming to me saying, hey, we're all the black people. You're the first person I've seen in 10 years and this and that. And I was like,
Nigga, I don't know what it is.
like,
you tell me. You let people, that's what I'm
saying, right?
You asking me, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know where they are. But
that's, yeah, word. Like, no, right. That's crazy.
But I also noticed that Duquesne was sitting right in the heart of downtown and right at the foot of the Hill District.
Yeah, right.
And that the labs were pretty much being unused. And I also realized that as a microbiologist, it's like, it don't cost a lot of money to do this, right?
Really?
You buy the equipment lasts you forever. That's why it costs so much.
Interesting.
And then it don't cost a whole lot to buy bacteria.
You could make it. Yeah, right.
Buy one vial.
Yeah, right.
Just keep building it and
that's
growing it and growing it and growing it forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's just try to invest a little bit of our resources into the kids in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get a group of kids to come in for the summer and just do nothing but microbiology experiments, I think that will get them interested and excited. And that's how we were able to get it going.
Yeah.
I approached some faculty. They got me some money to buy kits. They got me some money to give them lunch.
Yeah.
And that joint was going ever since.
Yeah. That's insane. Like what? And just like even on like a sidebar, like it seems like you just can like at least in this field, because I would imagine like there's a lot of structure in like a science career, but like you've just managed to again just take parts from here, take parts from there, and like make your own thing. So like, is there a way to go about like getting into, or like just kind of have to like say, listen, I like science, I know I like science, and just kind of go for it?
I mean, that helps.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to necessarily know that you like it.
Yeah.
Before you get into it, because I know you like it.
If you don't try,
yeah, right, to it. So we have a lot of our participants, and particularly young brothers and sisters from our community.
Yeah.
Who we have some that come in that are interested, and we have some that are like, I'm just doing this to try to get a check or have something to do.
Yeah.
And then boom, like it flips, and we're like, this is dope. I want to keep doing this. So when can I come back? When is the next program?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they end up coming back to the same program year after year after year.
That's crazy.
So, that's essentially how we do it and how it works. It's just we giving you the opportunity to come in. The only requirement to walk through these doors is a desire to learn.
Yeah.
We're not going to force you to do anything, but I guarantee you by the time you put on a lab coat and some rubber gloves and some safety glasses, you're going to be like, this is different.
This might be,
This is different.
Yeah.
I like this.
Could you see like kind of that spark in some of the kids in your program, just like kind of like
all
like
the light
bulb going off
all the time?
Yeah.
That's what drives.
Hell yeah,
you know what
right.
I'm saying? Like to see youth be like, wow, like this is dope. Whether it's doing the experiments or, like I said, just putting on the lab coat. Sometimes they put on the lab coat.
Just to get fly in the let me just get fly in the lab coat real quick. Yeah, right. Put the goggles on. Yeah,
I'm official.
Yeah, right.
And now you're doing it in an actual laboratory. Yeah, so it's even more official. So yeah, it is. And to see our students learn how to present their research.
Yeah.
To learn how to do the research. We're talking about things like, we're not talking about like elephant toothpaste.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we do some elephant toothpaste. Yeah, right. The monotony, but we're talking about students learning how to manipulate genes and put them in bacteria and use that bacteria to solve a real world problem or prevent pesticides from killing bees, right?
That's incredible.
Those kinds of things. We're talking about learning how to 3D print body parts that can be used to replace a body part instead of doing actual transplant from another person.
That's incredible.
This is the kind of stuff like that I think that whether you're interested or not, you come in and you learn how to 3D print a body part.
High vibes. You're like, shit, come on. I'm through your body parts now.
Come on, right?
Right. Yeah, that's fire though. No, fact.
You know what I'm saying?
That shit is crazy.
Yeah. What's the hand sign for that?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that's what we like to do.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
You decide if you're gonna take it and run with it.
How did you, again, man, like just balance that with, going for your doctorate? I'm like, what was life looking like for you like then?
Well, I mean, I was lucky. I married the greatest woman in the world, so we worked together.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And so the other thing was, I noticed that there was no 9 to 5 clock for me to punch
Okay.
in my program.
Copy.
Right? So
okay.
here's our PhD in the sciences.
Yeah, it is.
All right, because a lot of people might not know this,
Mhm.
but one, you should never pay for your PhD, particularly in the sciences.
Why's that?
Well, the way that the PhD program is structured, and particularly in the sciences, tuition is always waived, and you usually get what's called a stipend, an annual stipend. So they usually pay you, and they pay your tuition. They do that for a couple reasons. One, they don't want you working anywhere else and want you doing nothing but concentrating on your PhD and your research. So
Yeah.
you're always in the lab looking for problems to solving research problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why they do that. And that's why it's very, very competitive. Okay. So you do 2 years of work, usually coursework, and then the rest is just your thesis.
Copy.
I can do my lab work in the morning when everybody else is there, or I could do it in the middle of the night. I put everybody to sleep, helped out with, homework, dealt with dinner, cleaned up and stuff like that. All right, baby, I got to go to the lab. I did a long night at the lab.
Yeah.
And so that's how we did it. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
We were able to figure out who was available when.
Yeah.
We worked out schedules, and we helped each other out, to get it done. And so that's what I did. And I think that was the advantage of, many people say like being married and having kids was a disadvantage.
Yeah.
For me, it was an advantage because we had a partnership,
Right.
that worked.
Right.
And I, my professor didn't care if I was there during the day or I was there in the middle of the night.
Which is dope.
All she cared was when it was time for lab meeting, that I had results.
Right, yeah.
Just make sure I had results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did fatherhood change your approach to like the way you went about your career at all?
I think it made me more intentional about being successful in my career.
Fact.
It made me become more intentional about not failing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily being worried about failing.
Yeah,
because, look, I've had ups and downs in this career, but for the most part, I've had a lot of wins.
Yeah, they are.
Knock on wood, right? Or so scientists are.
Yeah.
Some of us can be a little superstitious.
Yeah.
But, I think we just learn to work and push through.
There's a little bit of static. Hold up.
Yeah.
Might be good now. Yeah, we're good now. Yep. All right, but yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. What was the question?
Oh no, yeah, I'm just like how fatherhood, we're just
Father, it pushed me to be just more sincere and more, like focused on it.
Yeah.
And spend as much time with my kids as possible.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I knew that I had things to accomplish in the lab, but I also knew I had things to accomplish at home.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I had no problem with going to the lab and going home.
Yeah.
Went to the lab and go home. That's what I did. And when I was home, I was present. I wasn't too tired, and stuff like that. So we did a lot of practices.
Yeah, right.
Both of my kids are athletes. Both of them became D1 athletes in college. So there was a lot of like going back and forth to practice and stuff like that. We figured it out.
Okay, there you go.
And I was totally dedicated to my wife and kids during the whole process.
Nice.
So that they could see what this process is like.
Yeah.
Right. Because I thought it was important for them to see a strong Black family and how a strong Black family worked together to overcome obstacles.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
In that same vein, you also created, you are the founder and CEO of a program that I think should be worldwide, to be honest. The Citizen Science Lab. So it's more static. Awful sorry. I'm sure what that is. Yeah, like a little bit. It might be the yeah. With the gain, it was kind of yeah, still there. Yeah, we're good. We're good now. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. No, but
No
the
worries.
citizen science lab.
Mhm.
So pretty much what that y'all are doing for anyone that doesn't know is just again making STEM careers more accessible to youths and marginalized communities, man. Like I just think that it's easy to criticize people in marginalized communities for not doing this or behaving a certain way or like X, Y, and Z, right? But to not give any pathway or like any resources and then just point the finger is like kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? So it's like I think what y'all are doing, man, is super incredible. I mean, like like you said, like there's kids, going into some of these similar programs and like printing 3D body parts when they didn't even know that they could do something like
Right.
that, just because like they didn't have the access to it. So it's like, how do you even know if you don't have that access to it, man? So like, please just break down the creation of that. Again, like what led you to pursue this and just the impact you guys have had. Like I know you guys recently finished up setting up a lab in the Hill District, correct?
We're working on it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, okay.
construction should be starting between now and Christmas.
That's fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, please, just go into how that started,
Right.
and like where you guys are at in your progress with things.
Sure. So the Citizen Science Lab was born out of the Sigma program.
I see. Okay.
There was a faculty member who helped me get the Sigma program started. There were a couple of them, but
Yeah.
there was one who really took notice, and so the program was successful. Kids were coming back. It was time for me to graduate and defend and do my thesis. And this faculty member said, "Hey, we think what you did with the Sigma program is great. We think you should continue to do this."
Facts.
Right? I was like, "All right, cool. Hey, we applied for a $500,000 grant. If we get the grant, we're going to turn it over to you, and we want you to go out and create this."
Who told you about the grant for them? I mean, that's surreal.
So it was Dr. Alan Seidler.
Okay, word.
Dr. Alan Seidler was a Fritzky chair. He was faculty at Duquesne University over at the Rango School of Research, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah.
And I still keep in touch with him to this day.
Yeah.
He was our original board chair. Phenomenal man.
Yeah.
Phenomenal man, really. And then he worked with Bill Jenneret. Bill Jenneret, Dr. Alan Seidler, and then Sam Ryman came together to fund this sort of pilot. And they offered me the position of being the founder and the CEO of this.
Beautiful.
And I took it because I thought it was dope. Like,
Yeah,
this is something I would do. I remember doing the Sigma program
Yeah.
maybe a year or two before that,
This-
saying to my wife, like, this program is doing really well. When I graduate, it would be dope if I could open up like a little science center or something like that. And she was like, yeah, it'd be really dope. She said, ain't no bank gonna give your black ass money to do it. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. You're right. Yeah, right. Come on. Yeah, right. And then like right after that, that's when we had the conversation. Like, I mean, God is good. Higher power,
100%, yeah.
whoever you want, right? But like that is a perfect alignment of the stars.
Yeah.
So I could not believe that this abandoned, adopted, recovering crackhead with a felony record was about to get $500,000.
Absolutely, yeah. Hell yeah.
To go create his dream.
Hell yeah.
And so that's what I did. We got the money. We got the money. I came back to Pittsburgh because I was working in Baltimore.
Okay.
While we were waiting on the grant to come in.
Copy. Okay.
And so came back, started the job in August of 2014. We launched our very first program in January of 2015.
Wow, man. Yeah, okay. Almost 10 years.
10 years this January.
Crazy, dog.
10 years this January. We celebrate our 10-year anniversary.
So that's fucking ill, man.
Yeah,
And like, like you said, like, because it was coming off the heels of the Sigma program. So it's like, can it even have those two energies like not too far behind from each other? I mean, like, you talk about God and a higher power. Like, I don't that's like a streamline, like you pretty much set up like the precursor
Right.
for
Yeah.
what like you were gonna get into with that, which is fucking insane. Like,
And the thing is, like I always tell people when I share this story, like you got to remember, people are always watching you. And whether you're doing something, whether you're getting paid or not, right, you should always put your best foot forward. I wasn't getting paid to do the Sigma program.
right,
You know what I'm saying? But I busted my butt to get that
facts,
joint done.
right.
And I really didn't do it with the intent of getting a $500 million grant.
Because you just love it, like you just love what you
doing.
That's what I'm saying,
I
right?
just love doing it.
Mhm.
Somebody happened to see it.
Right.
And was like, we got to make this bigger than what it is.
Yeah,
And so, I say that like I encourage anybody out there who is doing their thing, like always put your best foot forward no matter what. Even if it seems like it's a difficult challenge, like keep putting your best foot forward.
yeah,
Because people watch, they take notice, and a lot of times it pays off.
yeah,
You know what I'm
100%.
And that was my story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spoke with a grant, and grants have been, talked about a few times on the pod, but what was your experience with, writing a grant for like such a big amount of money? Like, have you ever dealt with money of that amount before?
No.
Yeah.
No, I was a scientist. There was scientists, right? So I did not have to write that grant.
Okay, word.
The grant was written by Dr. Seidler and Bill Jenneret.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But after that, I had to write all the grants.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to write grants. And what I ended up doing was I ended up writing the grants very much the way I would write a scientific paper. Because I felt like, there was a problem that needed to be addressed. I had methods and materials, and that would be my programming, right? And then I had results, and those were my outcomes. And so I would start to write my grants and formulate them in a way where I would write my papers and cite statistics and stuff like that. And it was successful. And so for the most part, I wrote grants to fund us every year.
That's insane.
Yeah.
As far as like, again, 10 years in this, man, like, and you're at the, pretty much ground zero at this thing. Like, how have you seen it evolve, build up? Like, have you seen anyone, come in and it just like, them just, spark a whole career in the field? Like, was what you built it for, like, coming to fruition?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
10 years is long enough.
100%.
Long enough for us to start to see those results,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we have people in biology programs.
Yes.
We have people who have already graduated. We have alumni who've already graduated from Howard, from Lincoln University. Students like Taya who've gotten a full ride to Penn State, and she's now in a PhD program.
Shout out to
in
Taya,
engineering,
man. Shout out to
right?
Penn State, man. We are, man. It's crazy.
Even some of our staff, right? Like our original full-time instructor, Cynthia Thomas, this sister is in a PhD biomedical program at UNC Chapel Hill. We have Sophie, who was also like one of our part-time instructors. She's in a PhD program. Liza, Janice Wilson Burley's daughter, CEO of the August Wilson Center.
It's crazy.
Her daughter has been through our program here. Lisa Sylvester on WPXI. Her son has been through our programming and is now pursuing a career like in the sciences and stuff like that. So it's working. It's working. For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What has been or is the process like of like setting up that lab in the Hill District, and like again, like just kind of speak on the inspiration to like want to set up a lab, starting there.
Yeah. So when we first started, right, we started in the Hill District. So we were born in the Hill District.
Yeah.
Our first site was at the Energy Innovation Center.
Okay.
And then what I wanted to do after a few years of renting and going through, landlord ups and downs, right, and headaches, so I know East Association, yeah, right, and raising money to put in somebody else's pocket and not having any equity or ownership, right? I mean, literally, I had to raise $100,000 every year for 5 years to pay rent to somebody else.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hell, what if I put my resources and my money towards owning my own property?
Right.
At least not me, but the organization.
Right.
It's a nonprofit, right? I don't own anything.
Right.
And so that's what sparked it. And I said, all right. And I also said, we've been here long enough. At the time, I think it had been like maybe 6 years, 6, 7 years. And I was like, it's time for us to become an institution, not just a program, not just a nonprofit program in the neighborhood. Because my goal is to grow this thing and make it a national.
As you should. Hell yeah,
Eventually
right.
become an international.
100%.
market, right? So we need a headquarters.
Facts.
And I'm not trying to rent my headquarters.
Yeah, right.
I want the organization to
that's I feel that.
and I want the Hill District to be proud
Yeah.
of what I am building.
Right.
Because it is for the Hill District.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do was I wanted to build an asset that was in our neighborhood that I knew everybody is going to want to come to.
Yeah.
And so instead of having us go to everybody else's neighborhood to get access to a resource, everybody has to come to our neighborhood to get access to this resource.
100%. And that's how it starts. You just got to build the community up first, and then just like instill the resources in the community. And then it all just trickles down from there. You can't just like, strip a place of like all its, resources, all its, shit that makes it thrive, and then expect it to thrive. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
because what was done to the Hill District is a tragedy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I hear about it all the time. Like, it's just crazy.
We talked about it this morning.
Yeah.
We just talked about it this morning.
Yeah.
And I had a really dope revelation this morning when we were talking about it. If I could share.
Yeah,
quick,
please,
But in D.C., you familiar with D.C., we got Mitchellville, right? Mitchellville is like the Fox Chapel.
Yeah, fat type vibes. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, facts.
And for the longest time when we moved to Pittsburgh, we were like, yo, where is Pittsburgh's Mitchellville?
Yeah, right.
Where is Pittsburgh's Mitchellville? I realized today, after hearing about the civic arena and everything that happened, right, with the Hill District, that the Hill District was Pittsburgh's.
Damn, I guess so. Yeah, damn.
It was Pittsburgh.
Facts, yeah, facts.
And what they did was they took the rug right from underneath us.
Right.
Took that away from us. And so, yes, my goal is to bring that back to the Hill District. Be a part of that revitalization.
100%.
Yeah. And that's why we have alumni from the Hill District who now work for us.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's about the economic mobility and being able to change the perception.
The economic mobility, 100%. No, and like, again, you are literally injecting that into the community, man. And it's just dope to see, like, because again, there's a whole lot of conversations, like, and good intention conversations for sure, like, I mean, that, like, push thought, but it's just doing the shit, man, for real. Like, that's just what it comes down to. And like I think just what you're even building, man, it's just so dope to see it. I'm just genuinely happy to see that, like, something is like that out there. I'm just like, yo, especially for like careers like STEM, because like, and just even like while we're on, like, what is your thoughts on like the STEM landscape in 2024? Like, I mean, is it still just, I'm sure like it's still lacking black faces, but like, has there been an improvement? Like, I mean, like, I know there's room for growth, but like, yeah, just from your perspective, like, how do you view the landscape right now in STEM?
So, I mean, it hasn't changed much. There has been some change, but still, 1,500 out of 57,000 PhDs, 1,500 of them awarded to African Americans.
Wow.
And so that was in 2022.
Okay.
And so, it's still a huge disparity. It really is.
Toby.
What was it?
Oh, no. I absolutely forgot about just like, just seeing how, like, damn, I look, you forgot the question right there. So, but just like, what is your, just like your thoughts on like the current landscape of STEM, and just like
landscape,
what needs improvement, like, like where are the areas for growth? Like,
I mean, we definitely need to change the idea of what a scientist looks like, and we also need to change the idea of what of what scientists are culturally, right? Because if you look at media, right, and how scientists are portrayed, they're often portrayed in a very positive light, right? Like, you think about in cartoons, Dexter's Laboratory, the Muppets, right? Beaker and Dr. Honeybrew, I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
right.
Something,
Walter White,
in
Breaking Bad,
right? A legendary cast.
I mean, you'll be very hard pressed to find positive images of scientists, right? Okay, unless we're talking about the white scientists that we see pictures of in the textbooks, right? But when it comes to media and movies and TV and so on, Now, when you throw the portrayal of black scientists, or what we call nerds, and then you got Urkel, right, for family members who's terribly emasculated and not cool.
He had to step into a machine to get the machine had to get the swag for him. Like, yeah, that's crazy. Facts. Word. Yeah. That's respect. No machine. No machine. I respect it. Right.
So it's plenty of us out there with swag that, the 1,500 of us that have acquired a PhD, right, in the sciences, we got swag.
Facts. Yeah.
So we really need to change that image.
Yeah,
and I think that as a community, we need to stop falling for the misinformation, right? Like, so many times the Tuskegee experiment has been cited, and it is cited.
That shit is crazy,
Not to go into science. A distrust for vaccines, a distrust of medicine, a distrust of doctors. For so long, the idea that if you were black and had an aptitude for medicine, you went into you had an aptitude for science, you went into medicine, right?
Okay.
But then, ironically, both in white and black cultures, it was kind of taboo to be treated by black doctors, particularly back in the 1920s and 40s and so on, right? And it still lives on in our black culture, right? I mean, Sanford and Son, right? I'm telling my age a little bit. There's an episode where he goes to the dentist and he's like, I don't want to see the black dentist. I want to see the white dentist, right? But then the black dentist ends up being the head of oral surgery.
Yeah, see.
So we still have
Try to bypass. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right? Some of this still lives in the culture.
100%.
We have to break those barriers down, and we have to stop saying, oh, you're a science nerd, and making fun of the kids who like science, and embrace them.
Yeah.
Because those kids are probably going to save your life or some relatives, right, through the research and the science that they have.
Yeah. You better chill out. Yeah, take him out the locker before.
Y'all, something for those of y'all who don't know, us scientists, we make good money.
Yeah. Y'all can definitely get to $1
career.
100%. No. Absolutely, man. And like, I think that's incredibly true. Like, all these people, and like we're even seeing it today, just like with people in my age group, like all the nerds or like people that you considered nerds in middle school, high school level, like they're driving Teslas. They're killing it, right? They're killing it. So it's like you definitely have to be making this players. Oh yeah, some of them blew their checks already. Some of them blew their checks already. Some of them are bodyguarding that, right? You know what I mean?
Like, money is on the kids with a 30-pound book bag.
Oh, word. Nah, some of those athletes are checking if IDs are fake, so you could come through. It's all good. 100%. And you also not too long ago spoke at a TED Talk, man.
Yeah.
That was super dope. I mean, what was that like for you? And just like when you were speaking to the audience, like what was something like again that you just wanted to impart on them? Like what was like one like the main talking points that you're just like, if I'm gonna get up here and speak, I want the audience to leave with this. Like,
I think the main point for me was embracing the diversity in science and making sure that we embrace pathways that lead to a diversity in science. So that's really what it's about, right? Like, you're talking about 2.7% of PhDs being held by blacks in a population where we make up 13%, right?
Yeah.
Same numbers are very similar when it comes to medicine. I think less than 5% of MDs are African American, right? So there's this huge disparity that we just need to work on and we need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us just aren't aware of it.
Facts.
They just don't know that, like, the same laws that were created, the same Jim Crow laws that were created that prevented us from getting generational wealth, from buying homes, from making money off of sharecropping,
right?
When emancipation occurred, all of these laws.
Some people's grandparents were still like sharecroppers. Like, that's crazy.
Was right? That prevented blacks who served in World War II from buying homes.
That's crazy.
All of these things, right? All of these barriers also existed in American science. Like, there were black scientists before me who really wanted to do research who were not allowed to do research. And so I think we have to be cognizant, and we have to be we have to learn that history or relearn that history in all aspects, right? It wasn't just the financial woes that we dealt with that were passed down through the laws that were created to keep us down. Also, in all of these different industries, there were barriers set up to keep us from being successful.
Yeah.
The life of Dr. Ernest E. Just is one of those prime examples. I will encourage anyone to read.
Who's Dr. Just?
Ernest E. Just is first Black professor of biology at Howard University.
Wow.
He's also one of the founding fathers of Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yep. And he is also the premier scientist that set the groundwork for fertilization, egg and sperm fertilization. He did the initial research on that. And so what we know about egg and sperm fertilization is based on his work. Wow. Never heard his name before, probably.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, exactly. And so I really relate to this brother because he's half Black, half German like me. Yeah. He wanted to be a scientist, and there were so many white people and white institutions that were preventing him from being an actual scientist. But he fought through all of those barriers and became a scientist anyway. So, yeah. Black Apollo is the name of the book. This is the story, life of Dr. Ernest E. Just.
Yeah, facts. And just speaking from your perspective solely, like, being like, one of the only Black person in like a lot of these spaces, like, what was it like for you just, when, did you experience any of these, like, roadblocks or ceilings, or like, how did you maneuver in the community?
If there were roadblocks or a ceiling, I didn't notice them when I was in my PhD program. I had a purpose.
Yeah.
And it was one purpose there. And I also had quite a bit of life experience before I got there.
Right.
So the things that bothered my white colleagues
Not yet.
bother me at all.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, all right. If I got to write a 10-page paper and it's due tomorrow, guess what? I'm going to write that 10-page paper. It's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel
it. Heck of a lot better than when I was sleeping on them steps of the Smithsonian back in 90. Right? So, yeah. I mean, it was
Let me write this fucking paper.
Let me write this paper.
Facts.
Right. So I ain't got to stand out on the corner and panhandle for a few hours for the next hit. Like, let's keep it real. So that's my perspective.
That's crazy.
When I went in there, I was doing my work. I was doing what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I will share. I think there were two things that I think really stuck out to me as challenges during that time.
Yeah.
One was we had a new professor that came in, and the only time I got upset at that program or people in that program was when the professor said that we had to teach, right? And he said we need the teachers and the PhD students to be a little bit more professional in their dress. And I was, I'm very jeans and sweatshirt and hoodie and sneakers, right? And always had
you looking around like, I wonder who we're talking about.
Look, we had a lot of like tie-dye Grateful Dead shirts.
Okay, copy, yeah. A lot of Rolling Stones tees, yeah. Copy, I hear.
I was street but fly.
Yeah, right. He's talking to the unfly individual.
So that's a fact. That's hilarious. That was hilarious. But so I was like, dude, I was really upset about that.
Yeah,
I was really upset about that. And so we made it past that. And then the other thing is, I remember one time I was getting ready to do one of my first presentations to my board on what my research was going to be and how much research I had, collected so far. And I remember getting ready to present, and I asked my mentor, I said, I don't know why I said this. And I said, I got real nervous. And I said, Nancy, you think I belong here? And she looked at me and she said, you better not ever ask me that question.
Word.
This is a white woman.
That's how that gets you, though.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So you better not ever ask me that question again. Said you wouldn't be here if you didn't belong.
Facts.
Never doubted that after that. Right.
Yeah. And
so that really sort of solidified, I think, my thinking and like, yeah, I do belong here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, that's what it was like. And so those were the only two incidences I had in the 6 years that it took for me to finish my PhD.
Yeah.
I didn't have some of the challenges so I was the only Black person in my program, but there was one Black person in the pharmacy department, PhD department. Her name was Panji. Shout out to Pangie Johnson.
Pangie, shout out to you.
So she actually used to be my boss at one of my old science research jobs.
Shit, okay,
Boy,
well, small world. I mean, like, yeah. She's crazy though. Yeah, right.
But she's now a research scientist for GSK, GlaxoSmithKline.
Oh yeah, I'm not familiar.
Been there for years in
Okay.
Boston, doing very well.
Wow.
So she was on the 3rd floor. And then there was another sister. Her name was Byrne. Shout out to Byrne. She was in the PhD chemistry department. So we were separated by floors.
That's crazy.
And occasionally the three of us would get together because we were the only.
It's dope. Yeah, you're right. Fast, got to, man. Yeah.
We'd have our powwow. So that was where my camaraderie was. And I had one guy in the program who was also a married dude with 2 kids.
Oh wow. Okay.
Asian dude, Chinese dude named Anjay.
Okay.
That was my homie.
Yeah,
that was
because like on the family tip. Yeah. We're 2 fathers in this.
We would go camping and stuff together with our families.
Yeah, that's dope.
We bonded. He was a really good dude.
That's dope.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying?
He
He was always biking to work and getting hit by getting hit by cars. So it was shout out to Anjay, bro. But yeah, that was how I made it through the program.
I know.
Nothing was gonna keep me from doing it.
Hell yeah.
Nothing.
And nothing did, man. As we wind down here, man, I got one question for you, man. Just on like a selfish nerd tip, man. What was the last piece of Star Wars content you watched?
The Acolyte.
Okay, I mean, like, I didn't watch it, but like, Mike was getting me hip to it, but like, he said like the first maybe 4 episodes were like,
Yeah.
and then like the second half was like, it's like, all right,
Right.
but like it got canceled though.
I'm right about at the middle. I haven't finished.
Okay,
it,
yeah, I
but
mean,
that was the last
yeah. But like, they're not bringing it back for like another season though.
It's an overload, right? They got so much stuff that they're working on.
Facts.
I mean, how many series do they have?
I know. Yeah. It's a lot.
We're not even talking about the animators.
I know.
So
come on,
yeah.
No, 100%.
Although I heard the Bad Batch was really good.
I started the Bad Batch. I'm probably on start the first. Like I haven't gone back to it in a while, but I mean, I might now that you mentioned it. So, no, Dr. Sam. Well, yeah, go.
Well, we talk about the Star Wars, man. Like fatherhood, right?
Yeah, facts.
One of the
absolutely.
things I did while I was in my PhD program.
Mhm.
My son also was a huge Star Wars fan.
Love that. Yeah, facts.
New stuff.
Yeah, right.
Clone Wars would come on every Friday night at like 9.
The movie of the year or the show?
The show. The animated Clone Wars.
Oh yeah,
And so there was a Friday night date.
Fire.
For the longest time, me and Reese sat down no matter what was going on and watched the new Clone Wars.
I love that, man. That's
You know what I'm saying? So yes.
so good. It's so good. You're like, yo, this is not a kid show. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like just real depthy, man. But nah, man, this going for another 4 hours, man. Yo, over Sam, yeah. No, right. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. Again, I just really respect your work. I respect what you do. I think you're dope as fuck. Let me just put it plainly. You know what I mean? So I really respect you, man. And this is the point of the pod where, again, like if you have anything, you want people to look out for, if you want people to find on social media, give them the tag. But again, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you for coming up, man. For real.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, if you got anything, you want to plug or anything where people can find the Citizen Lab or the page. Or,
the citizensciencelab.org. That's our website. You can definitely find us on Instagram, TikTok, and what's the other joint? X.
Yeah, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, right?
So we're definitely on all of those. Look us up, man. You'll definitely enjoy our content, and if you're in the area, please sign up for one of our programs. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Listen, MIC Podcast episode 143. Everyone is a master of their own creation. We got Jay-Z and Tony Stark, aka Dr. Samuel, in the building, and we're out, bro. Peace.